was wrangling with roving desires. So
Mhm.
that's acknowledging that the roving desires will come up. What do you recommend for wrangling with them?
So that's actually one of the titles of a chapter title in the book, Wrangling
Yeah,
with the Rolling Desires. First, I wanted to normalize the prevalence of human beings, having sexual longings outside of those that they have for their significant other and how common that is. I mean, I look at data sets on things like what are called back burner lovers or back burner mates, that something like 70% of adults fantasy keep alive one or two or three alternative mates that fantasy partners
uh-huh.
that will be fallbacks in the event of the current relationship doesn't work out, and how
Oh yeah.
common that is. It's also extraordinarily common for people in healthy marriages to have crushes on other people. That's like something like 60% of people have that. So I wanted to normalize all of that because it flies in the face of these moral religious ideas about how once you commit to a partner that somehow or other your sexual sex life will somehow or other shut itself down or should shut itself down. So I wanted to normalize all that. And then, I took a position in the book where I didn't want to either condone or condemn infidelity, use of pornography, to have an active fantasy sex life. Even I take a look at kind of polyamorous desires, what that's all about, what's going on in the culture right now, healthy ways to think about that. Um, I wanted to normalize how common it is for people who are actually in happy marriages, having affairs. Probably I have a statistic somewhere around here. Um, uh, one study I look at in the book, 56% of man, 34% of women that have affairs will say that they're either happily married or very happily married. So we have to look at kind of how common it is for people to stray, both in their fantasies and their actions, and to have a non-moralistic viewpoint on that. Humans are fallible creatures,
Yeah.
as the biologist Desmond Morris says. We're not fallen angels, we're rising apes. We're not fallen angels, we're rising apes. And then
I
we have
like
to
that.
contend with our animality. We're
Right.
lusty, lustful creatures.
Uh-huh.
And you somehow have to have a realistic viewpoint on that in a long-term relationship.
Oh yeah.
And affairs, if you're too moralistic about affairs, then that can be, when they occur, the betrayal that's experienced can be seen as a moral injury, which we know from the research is much harder to forgive and recover from. When a betrayal is experienced as a moral injury, rather than just a normal human psychological event, it becomes more difficult to forgive, recover from affairs. So I look at that in my book about how we need to just start to kind of have a non-moralistic view on roving desires and uh, and be have a more flexible, versatile way of kind of contending with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That makes a lot of sense to me. Well, let's try to wrap things up and have you maybe summarize uh, who do you think this book is for? Who should buy this book?
I would say so. The book is Flourishing Love, a secular guide to lasting intimate relationships. It's a book, I think, for people who are cynical about marriage, but still want to pin their hopes on it. that are either entering a marital commitment or ensconced in a marriage, where they want hopeful messaging about what marriage and children and long-term intimate partnership has to offer in terms of deep happiness, deep fulfillment, flourishing love. It would be of particular interest to people who are in relatively good marriages who want to have better marriages,
Uh-huh.
not that are in bad marriages that they're hoping to convert into good marriages, but they're in good marriages that they want to have exposure to fairly practical ideas and ways of thinking about love that will should bolster their chances of making that good marriage an even better one.
And also, you've been very sex positive, and I think that's an important
Yeah,
message in the book as
yeah.
well.
I reach out to the LGBTQ community and look at what they're doing right that we heterosexuals can learn from. There's a
Uh-huh.
lot of that in the book too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.